Hello everyone, this is Pooky Codes and welcome back to part 3 of Python full course where we will look at variables. So let's get started. Alright, so now we'll have an in-depth guide into variables. So variables, there are types to it, and basically a type just represents the nature of the data it is storing. So as you know, variables are used to store data that you want to reuse. So for example, to define an integer, I can just say my int is equal to 5. And if I run it, you'll see that there's no problem and I can access it on the console. So my int is a 5. I can do operations, my int plus 23. I can do multiplication times 2. I can do division over 5. And I can also do, exponentiation, so 2 squared. So this is all about integers. You basically define it by putting a number. And we're now going to look at floats. And float is just a number with a decimal part to it. So I can say, for example, my float is equal to 5.0. And notice how it is also kind of the same as the first variable, but here we have a 0.0. And this is very important because if I print the type here, and I print the type of my float here, you'll see that in the first occurrence it prints int, so an integer, so whole number. And in the second occurrence it prints float, so a number with a decimal part. And then we have strings. So string is when you want to store a sequence of character. So for example, I can say my name is equal to James. But as you can see, this will not work. Why? It will give me name James is not defined. And the reason why is that when I say my name is equal to James, it's not going to treat it as the sequence of characters James, but it's going to treat it as the value of the variable James. And since it doesn't exist, Python is panicking and just throwing out an error. So we can say double quotes. And when we put double quotes, it tells Python that I want the sequence of characters James and not the variable. And as you can see, when you wait a bit, you'll see that it's going to be executed. So just make sure to restart it again. And now you'll see that everything's running. I can also print the type of my name. And as you can see, it is a class of string. Notice how you can also use single quotes. And it is the same thing. It will also work. There's no difference. You just need to make sure that when you use single quote on the left side, make sure to use single quote on the right side. Also, fun thing to know, if you want to put double quotes in your statement, so for example, he said colon, then you put double quotes, you shall not pass. You'll see that it's going to work. I can just print my name and it will say, oh, he said you shall not pass, colon, to use the French. And then you can also say, if you used double quotes, you'll see that the syntax highlighting gets all weird. And why? This is because when you use the internal double quotes, it's going to treat it as you're ending this string. So you have like this string, and then you have this kind of weird string. And so it's just garbled mess. And so you want to make sure that when you want to use double quotations inside a string with double quotations, you use something called a backslash. So this is the forward slash and this is the backslash. And basically, when you put a backslash in front of the double quote, it's going to say, no, I don't want you to end the string. I just want you to be printed. And then, for example, if I put it here and I put it here, you'll see that it escapes everything and it also works perfectly fine. Also notice how the backslash character is not printed. This is perfectly normal because the goal of the backslash is just to make sure that double quotation is escaped so that it can be printed. We also have booleans. So booleans is something that can be true or something that can be false. So for example, there is my age bigger than 18? So I can say I'm adult is equal to, let's say, 16 bigger than 18. And I can print this. And as you can see, you will see that prints false. So booleans can only be two things. It can be true or false. And 16 bigger than 18 is just something that is false. If I did print the type of an adult, you'll see that it is a class of boolean. I guess there are some fun stuff you can do with booleans. So for example, you can have an adult is equal to 16 bigger than 18, and I can also say child is equal, let's say, to a 16 bigger than 12. And I can also print child and print the type of child, and you'll see that they're both of class booleans. So you just have to make sure that everything that is a boolean is something that is true or false. So a string is not a boolean, but if a string has a certain length, then this is a boolean. And now we're up to the most confusing type, which is none type. And none type can only have one value, which is none, written like this. And I can use this, for example, if I had a certain string called like let's say Snoopy. Yeah, let's say I have the string Snoopy, and I want you to find the first occurrence of the letter A. And as you can see, the letter A does not appear at all. So in this case, I'm going to return none. So I'm just going to say that it is not applicable. Because for example, if I had also Snoopy, but I wanted to find the first occurrence of the letter O, then I'm going to say, oh, here it is, the first occurrence of the letter O. And I am going to return its index. So this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. So in programming language, we start counting with 0. And this makes perfectly sense. But if you have A, as you can see, since it doesn't appear, you're just going to return none. And so that was pretty much it about variables and their types. We now just need to know about certain conventions. So when you name your variable, you have to make sure that they are lowercase and that when it is multiple words, you want to put an underscore. So technically, because I've been doing too much other languages, I'm not supposed to put adult like this. I'm supposed to put underscore, put this to lowercase, underscore child, and underscore adult, then underscore adult, and then underscore child, and then underscore child, and so on. So my name, I could have put an underscore. My name, I have to put an underscore, and then I also have to put an underscore. And so my float, I put an underscore, underscores, underscores, and then finally, this is the naming convention you are supposed to adopt. So make sure to keep your variable names clear, represent what they mean, and also don't make them too short. So don't name a variable like for age, don't call it age is equal to 12. Make sure you just use age equal to 12. And if something is super long, so for example, if I had student, shirt, color, first student, shirt, wristband, cotton, color, so the color of the wristband of a shirt, which doesn't really make any sense, and like I said, red, then you have to make sure that, you make sure the variable names can be shortened correctly, so you can just use student cotton color is equal to red. And so this was all about variable types as well as their conventions. So see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you like this content, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And in the next video, we are going to look at lists. So stay tuned.